Hey guys, welcome back to another Fallout 4 video. Today we got some mods that might just make you think modding Fallout 4 in 2024 is worth it, especially after that terrible update that really didn't do anything. But be warned, this can range from crazy to massively overhauling your Fallout 4 mods. So before we get into it, make sure you hit that like button down below, or don't, it's pretty much up to you at this point, but I do hope you all at least enjoy, and let's dive right in. The first mod up is Rebuild Collection All-in-One. This mod previously got hidden due to having to be updated for PRP and a new update changing things that it shouldn't have touched. But now it's back and better than ever, coming with well over 20 locations, maybe even 25. I didn't exactly count, but this is compatible with current and next gen Fallout 4. Honestly, I'm not even sure if that's what we're calling a pre-update Fallout 4, but that's what I'm going to call it. To simply explain this mod, every time you visit a new settlement, you can walk around to certain parts of it once you unlock the workshop and interact with certain parts, and a new prompt will appear allowing you to repair the location. This mod in my opinion is perfect, especially for those who hate having to build everything, because now it pretty much does everything for you. All you have to do is gather the resources to repair and maybe place beds so people can sleep. Next up, we got a new armor mod called VTAC REDUX. VTAC extended means Vault-Tec Advanced Combat Armor, which is exactly what this mod provides, a new custom combat armor added for female and male characters, pretty much supporting all major bodies except maybe Fusion Girl, which is greatly underrated in my opinion, but that's besides the point. This mod is massive. They added about 50 different suits and over 100 material swaps for those suits. And then he went even further and added 120 pieces of gear to add onto those suits as well, with also material swaps. So you're definitely going to be getting a lot with this mod, hence why the file is almost 1 GB. But most gun mods are about that anyway, so why not use an armor mod as well? To obtain this armor, all you have to do is craft it. No special mission needed, and it's not added to the level list, so it should be conflict free. So it's fairly easy to get. Now all you have to do is find an enemy worth using this armor against. Speaking of weapon mods, next mod up is Police Shotgun, another add-on for the Commonwealth Weaponry expansion, adding in a classic Remington 870. And if I said that wrong, you might guess that I'm not a big gun guy. This Police Shotgun comes with well over 50 new attachments, and I would expect nothing less from this expansion because they set the bar pretty high with the other mods. Especially considering everything in this mod is custom made, from the textures to the new animations. But this one, unlike the armor mod previously, is injected into the level list for gunners and raider boss. Or you can just simply buy it at a vendor after you hit level 12, if you're lucky enough to find it. But for me, I do prefer the unique variants, which of course, I have to do a showcase for. Both being fairly easy to find if your buildings aren't pitch black. While we're on the topic of Commonwealth Weaponry expansion, the next mod up is Ruger Rifle Pack, providing 2 classic carbines for you to have fun with in your next playthrough. One of the rifles can be found as soon as you start the game, which is the 22 carbine, and the next one requires you to hit level 10 unfortunately, but still pretty early, which is called the Caravan Carbine. Both featuring well over 40 new attachments and pretty much custom everything, from custom animations to custom textures. This mod does require munitions though, due to the type of ammo it uses, but most people use that nowadays anyway. And of course there has to be unique variants, because why else would it be Commonwealth Weaponry expansion? 2 to be exact though, and both come legendary, and are both pretty overpowered as soon as you find it. I mean, you're not going to be the Deathclaw with these, but it's good enough for gunners. Next mod up is just a quick shout out. This mod is called the Unlimited Sprint Out of Combat, and it does exactly like the title suggests, so no longer will your character get tired after running only 5 seconds. Now you can run as long as you are in combat indefinitely now. This mod doesn't require script extender, so it does have a plugin, but it is marked as ESL, so it won't count towards your mod count. Next mod up is called Amara Armor, adding in a custom armor based on Borderlands. I'll be honest, I never really played Borderlands too much besides playing and beating 3 and 2 multiple times. So I will admit, I'm not the most well versed in the lore and information, but I did recognize this armor as soon as I saw it. To get this armor, all you have to do is craft it at a chem station. This is a pretty simple set though, definitely nothing fancy. But hate me if you want, but I feel like this could definitely fit Fallout 4's clothing aesthetic. But you might be turning into a ghoul not too long after wearing this because it has no radiation protection. But it still fits. Moving on to the next mod, this mod is called Homeplate Redone. This massively changes up the home plate in Diamond City. Honestly, most people don't even know this place exists. Not sure why Homeplate is so forgotten about, or they just don't bother buying it. since they can just sleep in the settlement for free. But now that this place has been overhauled with a brand new look, I would definitely recommend at least trying this place. At base, the home plate is pretty empty and boring, but it lets you at least customize it like a settlement with its own workshop. But this mod changes that and overhauls it into a real home, like you'd probably see in a Skyrim mod. But the workshop is still there for people that want to change it around. The only thing I would say to worry about is because it is massively overhauled, you may experience FPS drops due to the jaw calls, but I really didn't get any of that because the interior is so small, but some people may. The next mod up takes a much more tactical approach to weapons. This mod is called Modern Warfare 2022 P90. Well, it has a longer title, but this mod adds in one custom weapon from the Modern Warfare game that features its own custom model, custom texture, and even going so far as to give it its own custom sounds. But unlike the previous weapon mods, this one does not touch your level list. You can simply get this one by crafting it at a camp station just like anything else should be. Which is what I prefer, just so I can avoid getting killed by a level 1 raider with a level 20 gun. And especially since I like to keep the cool mods to myself. But what I do want to warn you about, before you download this mod, you need to read the requirements, or you will end up with missing textures and then making a bug report, and then probably getting yelled at. And another thing I want to warn you about with this weapon is that it does have a lot of recoil when you first get it. So you might want to level up your gun nut a little bit just so you can add a bit of attachments. At least if you plan on using this early on. The next mod up is called Forced Evolution Super Mutant Add-on. You guys might have heard about this mod before, but it basically expands on what we know as super mutants in Fallout 4. And I can kind of see this being a little bit of lore friendly, considering super mutants are just an experiment. Who's to say there aren't floating alien super mutants around the Commonwealth? We just haven't seen them. Until now. This doesn't add them to the level list. It's better to think of these as a completely new faction that is pretty much friendly with super mutants. They have set spawns and will appear there alongside regular super mutants, so they will never start attacking each other. Or at least they shouldn't. If you do see them all of a sudden having a Royal Rumble, then you have some conflicts in your mod list. This is one of those mods I would 100% say is worth returning to Fallout 4, even if it is only for a few seconds to see this mod in action, because it was pretty fun for me to test. Next up is called Pip-Boy W.S. Replacing the Pip-Boy with more of a... Honestly, I have no idea what to say about this one, or how to describe it, but it's definitely a good looking Pip-Boy. It's more like something you would see someone in the real world making with less technology than that was in Fallout 4. And considering the description says that this was made by the community for the community, the way that this was designed definitely makes sense now. One thing to mention though, this is strictly for the player, so NPCs will still use the vanilla Pip-Boy, so you might want to make that one look good also. On a side note though, I will say, stuff that's made strictly for the player is more than enough to get me to download it, since I am selfish with cool items in Fallout 4. Next mod up is a simple texture replacer called Drinking Water Retexture. This is just a simple shout out in my opinion, because I switched over to using this because it definitely looks much better than the newer versions. But because of course it's a texture mod, no one really paid attention to it. But you guys should really go and check this out, especially if you're tired of looking at a brand new water carton. If not, then I definitely recommend Ben's Water Retexture. That one is also one of my favorites. The next mod up is called Power Armor Voice Changer. It changes the player voice when inside of a power armor, just like we saw in the Fallout TV show.
My God, they did it. Those bastards really did it. Everything's dead. My God, they did it. Those bastards really did it. Everything's dead.
I was honestly wondering why this wasn't a thing in the game once I saw it in a TV show, because I really liked it. But now there's a mod for it, and I gotta say, I'm having fun with this. Even though it's definitely nothing fancy, it's not a completely new person voicing it. It's pretty much just using what Bethesda already had in Fallout 4, just actually using stuff. And the next mod, Power Armor Machine, is the perfect match to the voice changer. This mod allows for you to send enemies flying with the unarmed power armor attack. This is turning power armor into a pure power fantasy, and I'm here for it. I generally don't even use power armors because they're a little boring and overpowered, but if I'm going to be ragdolling NPCs with just a punch and sending them flying, I think I might have to change my view on these. And like I said, this is just for unarmed attacks, so no weapons, just straight punches. But it also does both other parts of the power armor, such as melee does more damage now because in base game it does next to nothing. And you can also jump higher, which makes sense if you're in a power armor because it does boost your strength. But it also adds slight machine sounds when you're ideal in the power armor, so if you turn your volume up, You can probably hear that. But what actually caught my attention was the fact that if you're wearing a full power armor and visit Vault 81, you will not get the mole rat disease. This honestly went from pure fun to 100% needed, just for that part. Next up is a new armor mod called Minutemen Enforcer Armor, adding in a new custom armor worn by just the Minutemen. Well, none that are alive, but they are worn by the Minutemen. You can't find it yourself if you kill whoever is currently wearing it, but it won't be a Minuteman. But that's part of the cost for looking good. Or you can just help Preston and follow their trail back to the super duper mark. But that's boring, I'd rather kill an NPC for it. There are two unique variants, which is the one I'm currently using. And like I said, I had to kill an NPC for it. Maybe I'm violent, but that just comes from modding Fallout 4 for so long. But there's another unique variant which can also be found quite easily. Its armor stats are around metal armor, but better energy protection than a normal metal armor. So it won't be the best in-game, but it will definitely help you when you grab some ballistic weed for it. But honestly, that was it for today, guys. I could have extended this to about 20 minutes if I really wanted to milk things, but I wanted to make this short and sweet for you guys. So make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace and love.